am super excited to show you this one. Uh, the knife that I'm going to show you today is the, see if you guys get a focus on that. This is the ZT0308 carbon fiber. So let's take a look at this bad boy. This is a really big knife. So let's get all of the specs out of the way, and then we're going to talk about the knife. We're going to talk about the company that made this knife and other stuff. So you are looking at a blade length of 3.75 inches. The overall length of the knife is 8.9 inches. What we have here is carbon fiber on one side of the knife, and on the other side of the knife we've got titanium. We've got an M390 blade with a really nice swedge up there. Beautiful satin finish on the blade. Just give you a good quick look. We've got a really nice looking pivot right there. Probably need a special tool if you were to take it apart, although this knife is perfect the way it is. I don't see any reason why I'd want to take it apart. We've got black hardware for the screws. And the carbon fiber is absolutely gorgeous as it's textured. The pocket clip is not a deep pocket clip, but you can swap it. There are the holes right there, so you can swap the pocket clip out. Make it right or a lefty. And the action on this knife is unreal. It falls, it doesn't guillotine, falls shut, but there is some nice control there. And this thing just flips. Beautiful. Running on ball bearings. Steel ball bearings. Not ceramic. This is a frame lock knife. And we do have an over travel stop right there. Keep you from over traveling. The disengagement of the knife is very, very comfortable. Despite how heavy the knife is. This knife comes in at around, I believe, 6.6 ounces. So it's actually lighter than the G10 version, which is the Coyote Tan version that you guys are used to seeing. This one is a factory special series edition. Because they don't like to use the word sprint run, but that's pretty much what it is. It is a sprint run. The knife feels really good in the hand. I mean, it is just, it's there. It is right there. Very substantial. Despite the fact that it is a big, beefy knife. Why don't we go ahead and put it up against some other knives that you guys might know, starting off with probably one of the most familiar knives, the ZT0562. How about we put it up against the carbon fiber M4 Spyderco paramilitary 2. You can see it's much bigger than the paramilitary 2. We're looking at a 3.75 inch blade. How about we put it up against the Spyderco Osborne? This being just a 3.4 inch knife, as you can see, you can pretty much see how big it is right now. It's gigantic in size. Put it up against a medium knife, the Sage. Carbon fiber, button lock. And how about up against the Spyderco Micro Jimbo? As you guys know, I like to do my size comparison so you guys can get a better idea, but we're going to be doing large, medium, and small knives. So there you have it. Large, medium, and small. So let's talk about this knife a little bit more. There is a market for this knife. The guys that buy this knife, the market for this knife is either for two types of people. They're either the knife collector like me, who's looking for something interesting to add to their collection, something that they've never seen before, something that they've never had before. That's one market for this knife. The other market is the actual user. Maybe you're a construction worker who needs a really good heavy-duty knife to carry. Maybe you just really need something that you can carry to work every day, that pretty much fits your needs for everyday carry. Maybe you work in a place where you're going to have, be cutting thousands of boxes over and over again. And believe me, this knife can easily do that. This is one of those knives that is just a heavy-duty, all-around knife that can pretty much withstand anything. This is one of those knives where you can go camping with it or whatever. There's only one other knife, and this is the thing about ZT. Okay, if you guys remember way back when in like 2010, they had the original knives, which were built like a tank. And then they went away and they came out with smaller knives. Knives that were thinner. Less beefier. Here's an example, the ZT117. So this is kind of like the lineup that they do now. And then we have the Zero Tolerance 707. Okay, so these are the knives that they're putting out now. Thin, sort of like everyday carry versus these large, gigantic knives that they used to put out. Now, here's the thing. ZT actually did suffer by not putting out the Built Like a Tank series anymore. So what they've done is every once in a while, ZT will do something interesting. They're going to put out a Built Like a Tank knife like this. This one came out in 2020. Here's another one, Built Like a Tank. This is the Zero Tolerance 0203 in carbon fiber. As you can see, these are both gigantic knives that ZT has put out. And they'll do that. They'll bring out a whole spew of new knives every year. And then when the time is right, they're going to put out one Built Like a Tank knife just to satisfy that market. This is what they put out in 2020, and this is what they put out in 2022. 2023, I believe. So it's not every 3 years, but every so often they'll put out a really large knife just to satisfy that market. And that's the thing about zero tolerance is that the knife company is actually called Kai Knives. They've got Kershaw Knives, and then they've got ZT, which is their premium line. But even though we're aware of that, we don't automatically think of Kai Knives. That's not the first thing that comes to our mind. It's Kershaw or ZT. And it's kind of, they're not like Spyderco is my point. Spyderco is one company. They put out a huge spew of knives to satisfy everybody's taste. And kind of Kai Knives or Kershaw and ZT, they kind of fall to the wayside in that way. And they continue to keep pumping out knives that they think will address most of the knife buying public, and they tend to alienate a whole group of people who are happy with the 2010 knives. So it's just, that's what it is. It is what it is. So anyway, back to this knife. If you're into really large, big, beefy knives like this, you're going to be satisfied with this one. This one originally came out in the Coyote Tan G10 that a lot of people probably didn't find so satisfying. It kind of, I don't know. There was I liked the knife myself, but it was the color, it was the aesthetic. It just completely turned me off. So when this knife was available, I picked it up, and I overpaid for this one. I'm not going to tell you what I paid, but this knife is normally $420. And I got to be honest with you, I overpaid for my knife. And I agonized over, should I get this knife? Should I not get this knife? And for what I paid, which was way, way, way over the regular price, yeah, this knife is definitely worth it. For several reasons. I'm going to go over them again. I really like the shape of the blade. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's a huge drop point blade. I like that. I love the fact that the knife feels very, very substantial in my hand when I'm using it. There's no hot spots whatsoever. When I grip onto that knife, the pocket clip, there's no hot spot. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's very comfortable in my hand for whatever hard cutting tasks I need to do. The action absolutely blows me away. The detent is a medium detent. For a heavy knife, you'd figure it would be maybe a harder detent. The fact that the knife is so big, you would think that it would be really difficult to disengage the frame lock, and it's not. It's actually very, very comfortable. Doesn't take much tension in your thumb to disengage that. What I love about this knife is that it falls short of like guillotine or drop shut. It stops, technically it stops at right about here for gravity, like right about there. And then if you wanted to have it fall shut, and then it'll fall right into the handle. So there is some control. I do like that. I like that they have that on this knife. So this is a knife that you could definitely use for everyday carry. It's not really a problem. And it's not so huge that you wouldn't want to carry it in your pocket. I'll give you an example. The 0203, which is their latest offering, as a grab the built like a tank people. This is a 4-inch blade. As much as I love it, and I do love the Duralock on this one, I'm gonna have to do a video on this one because I didn't really dive into it. I do love the Duralock on it. It's a 4-inch blade. I mean, you guys can see if I did this pivot to pivot. I mean, it's a much larger, or if I did it a little bit side, yeah, it's a much larger blade size. And just that little bit makes all the difference in your pocket. For whatever weird reason, it doesn't feel like I'm carrying a knife that's as big as it feels, just because it's sort of a stout knife and kind of a little bit compact in this area, in this realm. So it kind of fits my range. In fact, if I were to put it up against the 0562, probably the most popular knife that Kershaw ZT put out, you can see it's not that much bigger, is it? I mean, obviously it is bigger, but it's like only slightly bigger. So I mean, to decide in a day which one of these two you'd carry, I mean, it basically would come down to what you feel like carrying. Yeah. Aesthetically, a lot of people were complaining about the hole in the knife. I didn't have a problem with it. In fact, I kind of like the hole. It's just that it adds another aesthetic. I mean, right now you can see the hole is filled, obviously, with the blade. That's part of the aesthetic. And then when you flip it open, now you can see right through the knife. I mean, I like that. I don't know why people were complaining about that. I think that that's a really pretty aesthetic there with that. I like the open construction, the barrel spacers. I'm a huge sucker of like open construction knives and knives that are completely enclosed. I'm not into those half spacers. I just don't, I never really I do own quite a few of those knives, but it's not something that I consider, I try not to think about it too much because there's something else on the knife that makes me want to buy it rather than having to stare at one aesthetic on it. So, I mean, it's really just everybody's looking for the perfect knife. And it's unfortunate, but all of us knife collectors, we do the same thing. Every time we see a knife, we kind of take a look at the piece, consider it, and then if it grabs us to the point where we can't live without the knife in our collection, then we buy it. Not really caring about the price either, because that's the type of collector I am. And it's not like I'm not even educated in knives. I'm not just buying knives for the hell of it. There's got to be a reason why it's in my collection. And one of the reasons why the knife is in this collection for me is I started thinking about knives in a different way. I am really a custom collector, as you guys know my channel. I collect a lot of South African customs, and their production world is now putting out more knives like this, where it's now blurring the line between custom and production. I'm going to be honest with you. 60% of the production knives out there are way better than most of the customs that you see. The production knives are always going to be better in a lot of ways. Everything in a production knife is set. And one of the things I noticed on this particular knife is the fact that the carbon fiber scale on this knife and on the 0203. Think about this. Custom knives are made by hand, completely by hand. In other words, when we mean by hand, we mean that the machines that are used to make the custom knives are actually made by the maker to make that one model knife. Now, why is this significant? Is because think about how difficult it would be to produce a custom scale by hand that looks like this, with this texture and this feel. It would be really, really difficult. So it's what you have to think of is that there is one machine that pumps out the custom scale or the scale for this knife. This particular model knife on both of these, and it's only used for that purpose, just to make the scale. And they are pumping these knives out. Maybe it's 100 of them, maybe it's 50 of them, who knows however many of them there are. But it's only this particular knife that they're going to make the scale for, and then you'll never see it again. That's kind of a custom way of making knives and thinking about knives. So the line is now being blurred. We're going to be seeing a lot more interesting production knives and a lot less knives that look like this, where it's just plain old titanium. We're going to start looking more at, more knives with like some, like a little bit, that goes a little bit more beyond like the customization that you would see on a production knife. This is pretty plain. There's not much aesthetic here on this one. But this is where it's going to go now with production knives, with ZT Spyderco. And it has been going that way for like the last decade, I notice. But anyway, having said all that, if you are looking for a really great, big, beefy knife with this aesthetic, sorry to say it would be difficult for you to get this version of the knife. And if you do find it, you're going to have to overpay for it like I did. If you're a knife collector, yeah, you're going to really overpay for this one. Otherwise, the Coyote Tan version, if that's your taste, that one's definitely available on the website, and you can find that one all over the place on eBay, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this video here. I just wanted to talk about this knife and talk about like what's going on with production knives in general and why it's going in this direction. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will be back with another knife soon. I've got like 6 ZTs that I haven't even done. I'm going to try and blab less, maybe talk more about the knife. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to close out with the action. Have a nice day.